this e-commerce thing's pretty cool. What should we do? Embroidery or sex toys? Sex toys won. There was a moment I went, do you know what? The future isn't on distribution, isn't on licensing. It really is B2C. And that's where we basically moved all our eggs into one basket. We have our 6 core values, and one of them is you never know enough about sex.
Welcome to Add to Cart, the podcast that express delivers all you need to know in the fast-moving world of e-commerce. Every month, Nathan Bush from 12 High and an e-commerce industry expert will share the news, research and insights that you need to know to keep you at the top of your game. And of course, keep your customers adding to cart.
Hello and welcome to Add to Cart. My name is Nathan Bush, host of Add to Cart and director at e-commerce talent agency eSuite. Look, I'm going to level with you. I never thought I would hear the words clitoral stimulation on the Add to Cart e-commerce podcast. But lo and behold, here we are. Joining me today is Rob Godwin, director and head of operations at Lovehoney. Lovehoney, whether you know them or admit to knowing them, are the sexual wellness people. They're the leading retailer of sex toys, costumes, and most things sex-related that you can or you can't even imagine. They now operate in 9 countries and have 440 staff worldwide. In this episode, Rob takes us behind the scenes at Lovehoney to share how the world's attitude changed towards sexual wellness during COVID, how the sex industry leads so much of the innovation that we see in other industries, and why inclusion and diversity is critical to his and Lovehoney's mission. Also, stay tuned right until the end of the episode to hear how you can win a $500 Lovehoney prize pack. Plus, there's a special discount for all Add to Cart listeners. See, we really do care about your wellness here. All right, enough foreplay. See, yes, I got one in. Thanks to our partners Shopify Plus and Signet, here's our conversation with Rob Godwin from Lovehoney. Rob Godwin, welcome to Add to Cart.
Lovely to be here. Thanks for having Lovehoney today.
Pleasure. I am very excited. We've been a long-awaited chat. I actually just listened to your conversation with Ed and Dan over at Trademark, which was a brilliant conversation around sexual health and mental well-being. And its conversation was well overdue, and I loved it. Yeah,
the boys at Trademark and Tayax are superb. They're just legends in their own right. And it's a conversation which we had with them, which hadn't been had for a long time. And just to talk about sex, well-being, mental health, starting a conversation. We're supporting them heavily, running the Gold Coast Marathon on their behalf for my sins. We're decking out our warehouse staff in their workwear gear as well. And a number of our suppliers like Mainfreight, and trying to persuade Australia Post to do the same as well.
So good. Brilliant partnership. Is Dan and Ed running the marathon with you?
No.
What a cop-out.
They are. They did offer to sponsor me if I ran in their budgie smugglers, but that's still to be decided. Depends how much money we raise, really.
I reckon we should try and raise some money to get them to run in their own budgie smugglers.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
All right, we are here to talk about Lovehoney. So can you give us a little bit of an overview on who Lovehoney are and the scale of your operation here in Australia?
Yeah, Lovehoney are the sexual happiness people. We are very proud to make a fun, fulfilling sex life available to everyone. We've been here in Australia for just over 7 years. It started in our spare bedroom in Indooroopilly in Brizzy, with myself and one staff member from the UK. And you fast forward 7 years, market leaders. We're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. in the warehouse, 24/7 customer service, shipping tens of thousands of units per week across Australasia.
Brilliant. And it started in the UK, did it?
Yeah, so Richard and Neil, the co-founders, they started this almost 19 years ago in Bath, beautiful area of the UK. And they happen to be friends of ours, and we've been involved in the industry together for a number of years. And they got together, said, oh, this e-commerce thing's pretty cool. What should we do? Embroidery or sex toys? Sex toys won. When I met them, they were 28 staff, about £20 million turnover. and just their Bath warehouse. Today, we've got over 440 staff.
Wow.
We have a Swiss investment company that are now partners with Richard and Neil, and we have distribution centres in Bath, UK, Brisbane, Queensland, and Atlanta, Georgia in the USA, plus 9 global websites.
It's a phenomenal business. And I hear that even the Queen is a fan of what you're doing.
Yes, we are highly honoured, and to be in a position where the Queen has endorsed Lovehoney. We won the Queen's Award for International Commerce to the Commonwealth for their continuous international trade for the last 5 years. We were extremely fortunate to win this in 2016, and Richard and Neil went to Buckingham Palace to receive the honour, and we've been acknowledged with this award again in April 2021. So that's for continuous international trade, which to the Commonwealth is the majority is to Australia. So I took great delight with our team in kind of owning that one. But it is just to show you the acceleration and the acceptance in society that the Queen has recognised Lovehoney twice now.
I just have this brilliant image of the Queen in Buckingham Palace with her iPad out, looking at all the websites of the people who are running for the award, getting to the Lovehoney website and going, I like this one.
Funny story, actually. Funny story, Nathan. Richard and I went to Buckingham Palace back in 2016, and they were being received by Prince Philip and Princess Anne, and they were lined up and prompted how to address the royal family, etc. And Prince Philip walked across and said, what does one do? And Richard has got a very dry sense of humour, co-founder, but one's in the sexual happiness business. And he didn't break stride. He carried on, did not pause, did not stop at go. But Princess Anne did stop, and she said, I know of your company. Congratulations, well done.
Oh, brilliant. So, did you look her up on your database to see how good a customer she was?
We have a few Windsors in our database, so not too sure, really.
Did you know that Lush Cosmetics have committed to being naked 50% of the time? That means free from packaging, you sickos. But when packaging is used, it needs to meet stringent environmental guidelines, including being 100% recyclable. So that's when Lush joined forces with our partner Signet to provide an eco-friendly outer packaging solution, which helps get their products in the hands of retailers in perfect condition while making a minimal environmental impact. To see the packaging solutions that Lush Cosmetics use, plus 5,500 other solutions, visit signet.net.au and up your e-commerce packaging game today.
Now, your tagline is the sexual happiness people. How do you introduce yourself? Say you're at a barbecue, and what kind of reactions do you get?
Recently, our brand awareness, both prompted and unprompted, has absolute hockey curve. We were so fortunate, and during COVID, people bought food, alcohol, and sex toys. And we went from 28 staff to over 60 during the peak season. So taking that on board, I think our exposure to the general public has increased exponentially. So the acceptance of me now when I introduce myself, they, cool, you're that guy, or, oh yeah, I've seen you guys on TV, because we have a always on policy on above the line. It hasn't always been that way. I've worked as a CEO of Sexpo. I've also done the licensing for 50 Shades of Grey and various adult products and films around the country for the last 18 years. And you have 3 types of people when you meet them: that you'll tell them what you do and they'll do a 180-degree turn and walk away. You have a second group of people that you tell them what you do and they'll change the subject or ignore what you said. And then the most interesting group is you tell people and they go, really? Well, have you got X? I need this. I have this issue, or I would like to do. And suddenly you become the agony aunt, the sexologist to them, and you find out their deep, darkest desires, fantasies, requests in the first 2 minutes. So I would prefer the third group of people. But it is seeing how the industry and how the public perception is changing, where now people go, you run a really cool company, and go, thank you very much. And that's really pleasing, very empowering in hearing that first from people.
I reckon you would be the funnest person at a party, hands down, any day.
If we bring the goodie bags, absolutely.
And you mentioned there that brand awareness of Lovehoney has increased dramatically. Do you think Australians' attitude to sex and sexual well-being has changed as well as dramatically during COVID?
Absolutely. I think we're in a situation where we're forced together, and due to lockdowns throughout the country, we saw significant spikes in sales. Unfortunately, in those states that were in lockdown, I mean, this time last year in April, May we were working literally 24 hours a day just to cope with the demand and keep that customer service up. I think that the attitudes have changed prior to COVID, but like the e-commerce industry has kind of been brought forward 5-6 years generally across all sectors. Likewise, within the sexual wellness industry, that has accelerated people's acceptance. I think it's accelerated people's awareness as well, but also it is about opening up the conversation, that positive relationship to having a positive relationship with your sex life, really. We did, just prior to COVID, we did a sexual happiness study, and that was 3,000 respondents around the world. 1,000 within Australia, and just asking general questions. And over half the respondents said having a good sex life is good for your overall health. But really drilling into that data, what was fascinating was 25% said having a good sex life helped mental health.
Yeah.
So I think during COVID, when people were basically locked away from their friends, family, colleagues, etc., being able to accept, it's okay to have a good sex life. It's okay to have self-pleasure. That really did break down those barriers and the walls to acceptance, really.
And did I see in your research that you found that people were having slightly less sex but better quality sex?
Yes. It's so again, and our sales of silent vibrators had a triple figure growth. So you know that the environment you're sharing it with, so quicker, more productive, and just more fun. And so there was a spike in the acceptance or introduction of bondage as well. So all these smaller spikes within the general growth in our category and our business was very much encouraged during COVID. So, and like things like our pulsating air technology, new products which send oscillating airwaves across the clitoris, and you can orgasm within a minute.
What do you mean? So, how do you send airwaves for an orgasm?
So normal vibrator would vibrate,
yep.
And you rotation or vibration, etc. There's a new technology called pulsating air, and it blows airwaves, so you can actually stimulate the clitoris very fast and effectively with this kind of blowing sensation, sucking sensation, and there are reports people orgasm within 30 seconds. So again, fitting into that COVID environment where you're somewhat restricted on space and noise, etc., that's where these products have really sold very, very well.
In between Zoom meetings?
I won't go there.
Oh, there are so many questions. We could go down that path, but we should talk some e-commerce, I think.
Okay.
So for those who haven't been in the online adult industry, actually, before we go down there, 7 years ago when you started Lovehoney here in Australia and you put all your eggs in the e-commerce basket, was there a moment that made you do that?
I came from moving to Australia 2001 for the British Lions tour. I only came here for a rugby game. I was only meant to be here for 3 weeks. And that's obviously 19 years later. And my ex-wife and I had a very equal weighting of our careers. So I moved to Melbourne, and for her to be head of production for Foster's CUB. So she made beer, I sold adult toys and porn. So it was a great great start to our marriage. And yeah, just starting off, when I got into the adult toys and adult films, you saw the decline or the move. It was huge, DVD and video. And then as the internet e-commerce developed, you could see that's going to die off. That's when I moved into Sexpo and ran Sexpo and Club X stores. And again, seeing that tailing off of physically the hardware onto the online presence. And it was just through connections through the industry where Richard and Neil were friends. And they said, if you're ever going to do anything in Australia, do it with Rob. If you're going to do anything in the UK with Sexpo, do it with these guys. And we just got chatting and said, we should do something. And then 50 Shades of Grey came up and we pitched for it together and we won it. So I asked them to turn on the website because I knew how poor our competitors were over here in their customer experience. And they reluctant. Well, Australia, you've only got then 20 odd million people, now 30 million. It's like, no, seriously, guys, you guys, there'll be a real brand affinity towards what you do and how you do it because the customer always comes first. And they reluctantly turned it on. And the first weekend, they got a phone call from the golf course going, we've missed 70 calls this weekend. How quickly can you open up an office? And 2 weeks later, I had a staff member from the UK, spare bedroom converted with 2 phone lines, dial up then, and off we went. And then moved to West End, 2 offices. But you saw the adoption of online affecting the core sales of adult stores, which was movies. And then you saw the customer experience evolving as these big e-commerce companies evolved their customer experience. And so there was a moment I went, do you know what? The future isn't on distribution, isn't on licensing. It really is B2C. And that's where we basically moved all our eggs into one basket, closed off a few companies and just focused in on developing lovehoney.com.au. And it's been an epic 7-year ride, really.
Yeah, it's fascinating because it's not only that customers have gone from preferring offline shopping to online shopping, a lot of your product has changed as well to be digitized as well. So you're kind of dealing with customer behavior plus your product, your actual physical product changing so much.
Yeah, we have now one of our top selling products are app controls where you can control that interstate between countries, etc. So that advancement in products, like last month we launched some really cool eco toys, so biodegradable toys, Love Not War, which is recycled aluminium and plastics. The Mindful lingerie range, which is all recycled yarns and elastics and laces, etc. So it never stops and never stands still, really.
So much innovation, isn't there, in the adult industry that drives a lot of the mainstream adoption down the track?
Yeah, the adult industry has always been on the forefront, on the front step of when Blu-ray came in, DVD, etc. But now the technology side, there is some absolutely fascinating toys. I mean, I now have a brilliant team. I mean, I'm very honoured to lead a brilliant group of people, and it is a Lovehoney family here, and everyone's welcome to come to Eagle Farm in Brizzy and have a tour around. But I occasionally get in the warehouse, unpack a few containers, and even I'm shocked at the new products that come through. I'm like, whoa. We have our 6 core values, and one of them is you never know enough about sex. And you've been doing this for almost 20 years. You think, you know it. You know what's the best sellers. And then suddenly you get a product going, wow, that's cool. Why didn't I think of that? And it is. It's a continuous evolving new product growth, really.
What about your team? Because I could imagine that the way you speak about sex and sexual wellness is very healthy. Do you often find people who come into the team on the surface, they go, yeah, I'm all cool with it, but then they're actually shocked? Or is there a sense of, not numbness, numbness isn't the word, but almost normality, that this is what it is?
Yeah, I think the normality comes when you go home and you take your work home with you. And on the coffee table, you might have some catalogues from a supplier, or when I'm in Virgin Lounge and I'm doing, looking at some media decks or presentation from suppliers, and you forget and someone then walks past your shoulder and you sense them looking at your screen. I think from the staffing element, there's a great chap called Bob Schwartz from Nordstrom. He created Magento and he was on the board of Nordstrom, and he described Blake Nordstrom as that kind of reverse triangle where he was at the bottom, then his executives, then his shop staff, and then the customers, and he was at the bottom of the triangle, not the top. And that's very much our view here, and how I create the kind of leadership group is that we're here to support our customers. Everything we do is customer orientated. Every process we do is what benefit does a customer get from having this approach or this new tech or this new policy. And that, if you filter that down into the staffing levels, when people do start with us, they are aware of what we do and how we do it. Our customer service team have a 3-month induction, which is significant. And they don't actually sell. They're the first customer service team I've ever seen where there is absolutely zero sales KPIs. All they are there to do, not all, but their focus is to take the customer on a positive journey when this is a very sensitive subject. This is very emotive, and we don't want to recommend you've got to buy X, Y, and Z. We take them on the journey through a really good website now in getting to the right decision for them. So they're empowered and they're confident about the purchase. And the same goes to our staff. They are empowered. They're all given individual responsibilities to deal with customers at the time. So most customers that call up will have an issue generally, or an inquiry. So the inquiries, we take them on a positive journey. But if it's an issue, then it's tends to be, where's my order? Or my order's broken. We empower our customer service staff to make the decision immediately, not I'm going to refer it to manager. So they will refund freight. They will give you a full credit. They will send you out a new product straight away. That's the very same day. And that for the staff is such a positive environment, because we are the sexual happiness people. If our staff can't be happy, how do we expect our customers to be happy? So I think there's the expectation of a fun environment. We're talking about sex here, we're talking endorphins, but also I think the culture of what we do and how we do it precedes us. So we have staff barbecues every month. We have 3 dogs in the office most days. We have a PT that comes in once a week to train the staff. We have a staff box, which is fantastic. So any damaged packaging or end-of-line products is free for the staff. They never have to pay for an adult toy, or if they do, they get 50% off brand new. So I think our reputation is already set before the staff. So there's anticipation, and then there's excitement to start. Really.
Absolutely. And in terms of just like going back to those customer service teams, because normally customer service is an entry level job into an e-commerce business. And the best e-commerce people I've seen go from customer service all the way through. But when you bring customer service team in, because you've got a 24-hour customer service around the globe, I could imagine that they're dealing with a lot more than where's my order, where they can put a tracking number into an AusPost portal and then give a customer an answer, that they could get hit with any type of question at any time. How do you give someone the emotional and product knowledge, I suppose, to be able to have those conversations in the right way?
You hit on a really interesting point. We have a great internal succession plan here. Our general manager started off in customer service 8 years ago. Our e-commerce manager was our weekend casual at university, and has now become deputy manager, and then became our e-commerce manager with a team of 3 now. It really does, we evolve from within. I think the confidence we give them is through the quality of training, through that 3 months and continual learning, having the confidence to deal with the issues. You do hear customers always that negative intent, and if you can turn that around to a positive reaction, that's an empowerment for the staff, and they feel great about it. I mean, we've got over 250,000 customer reviews on our websites.
Wow.
We have just under 13,000 Trustpilot reviews in Australia, of which it's excellent at 4.7. That reflects how credible our customer service is in just dealing with the issues. You empower the staff, you give them the tools. But on the other side, it is an emotive subject. And so we have to support our staff in their mental health and their wellness in the workplace. So we work with the Central Wellness, CDC. Big shout out to Pat and Tina and the guys there. They're amazing. Highly recommend you check out the Central Wellness. They are superb. And we have free counselling for all staff members. We have mental health induction programs for all new starters. All staff do shifts in the warehouse and in customer service and in commercial side to understand all the areas of the business. So it's a very holistic approach to staffing and a real significant investment in time with them.
Yeah, and look, obviously that training pays off so much with all those customer reviews and the positive sentiment out there. The question that I wanted to ask you is, for people that aren't in the adult online industry, what do you have to do different from an e-commerce perspective that other retailers may not have to do?
There are elements that you can and can't do. Mr. Zuckerberg doesn't particularly like our category. So Facebook is, there are ways around it, but we can't put up an image of an adult toy on Facebook. Insta, a little bit easier, but still there are restrictions. We're not allowed to have the carts, not allowed to have spots, etc. So that's a frustration. And there is a bit of a focus on our above the line as well in terms of timings, etc., which is completely understandable. And we work with Advertising Standards Bureau with that. I think where Lovehoney tries to create is to be that go-to company, to be the kind of leaders in this space. And that's really illustrating how subtly and effectively we sell. So what do we have to do? What do we do differently to what a normal, inverted commas, e-commerce? Things like the subtlety in imagery. So we have to reshoot everything.
Okay.
A lot of the suppliers around the world will give us, in a way, we're very conservative in how we present the image. We don't want to offend. Therefore, we get it. It's an adult product. Therefore, it says what it does on the tin. But there are ways. So our videos online, all of our videos which we shoot for most products are non-selling videos. There's just more information, what this does, how it does it, and what the attributes are, not, again, that hard sell. This is all about subtlety and that connection with the customer. Things like we do benchmarking. We've been to Culture Kings with Simon. We've done Adore Beauty, EB Games, Beginning Boutique, St. Frock, all brilliant, love companies I adore. And you see their beautiful curated boxes and branded boxes that they have to send to their customers. We can't do that. We don't want Mr. Postman from Australia Post saying, "Dear Mrs. Smith, here's your monthly subscription." So there are things where we have to be very discreet in our packaging and discreet in how we promote our products. We can't put on social media the actual product. So we're very much content-led. So we do a lot of illustrations. We do a lot of content with our ambassadors and our influencers so that you bridge that gap. You're addressing what they want to hear, but in a very effective and subtle manner.
Jenny Craig has been helping Australians lose weight since 1983. But did you know that until recently, the website purely served to support customers visit a physical store or call a consultant? Luckily, Jenny Craig partnered with Shopify Plus to launch their new online ordering system. This includes a drag-and-drop meal plan, HubSpot CRM integration, and time-based delivery options for all that cold stuff. They've already achieved a 2.5% conversion rate without any marketing and are now looking to stack on the dollars. To read more of Jenny Craig's story and see other case studies, visit the customer section on shopify.com.au/plus.
I can imagine that there'd be a huge difference in how you approach new customer acquisition versus the community that you've fostered. And you really do have a really strong community of people who are open and accepting and really celebrating sexual wellness, who probably wouldn't be offended by those images because it's just part of life. But new customers, to your point, you might have to nurture them through. So is there a really different strategy for those groups of people?
With the new customers, our biggest growth rate in the last, since COVID, has been single females under 35.
Okay.
They haven't been updating. They still want to have a positive sex life. Our core demographic is still 25, 45 heterosexual couples. But really, how our real connection with them really is through email, through above the line, through that the kind of cumulative advertising approach. Obviously, with a good mix of PPC, SEO, and affiliate channel marketing. But I think the most effective channel in generating that new customer growth is communicating to them in a way which they can relate to. It might surprise you, but a good-looking 40-plus pommy with a beard and no hair, single father of two, isn't the greatest person to connect with a new potential audience. I can 100% assure you on
Don't
that.
sell yourself short. Come on.
We have, as we say, the Lovehoney family with our ambassadors, and they connect, and that's our key milestone. That's our key triggering connection. We have the fantastic Chantal Otten, who's our leading sexologist.
Yep.
She's been with us almost 2 years. And when we say about Lovehoney family, she is like, we absolutely do adore her. She when you trust your brand to an ambassador, you need them to share your brand values, but also your overall values. And she does. She's, amazing person inside and outside of work. We have Cam Fraser, our male sex coach, very much more holistic, tantra based, can relate to the couples audience, but also with a male focus as well, dealing with male issues as well as encouraging. I mean, men's a massive potential marketplace for us in engaging with them. We've got Bryony Cole, who's actually back from America, who's Australian. She's the leading sex tech expert in the world. She runs the futuresex.org, brilliant podcast. We have Tamika Wilder, the orgasmic mama, that can relate to.
What a name!
Yeah, I know. She again, and we also have a real depth of in-house staff. So we have Britt and Tash, who run our marketing department, Paige, who's our e-commerce manager, and some key people in the UK that we use over here. So it's getting the right person to connect to that right audience, and we really do have a wide spectrum, plethora of brilliant people that endorse our brand in a really effective way.
Oh, it totally normalizes it. I know when I was researching for this, we share an office and it's fairly open plan here. And I started and I've got a big monitor and I had the Lovehoney site up and the content is amazing. Once you get in and you start reading, the content is just so well written and so relatable. It's all really great stuff, but you almost forget what you're looking at. So I walked out, similar to your experience before in the Virgin Lounge, and I'm just walking around the office. And then people are kind of walking past my computer giving me side eyes. But it almost becomes, you don't feel awkward on the site at all once you're there and in it because you've got such great content and those ambassadors really bring it to life.
When we did the trademark podcast, they asked, when you get pushback, and we do get occasional pushback, what do? So you've got to do even more. You've got to increase the volume. You've got to increase the normalization conversation. You've got to increase the communication about inclusion and diversity. You've got to turn up the volume, turn down the volume with criticism. And that's how you do it. It's the more people see your screen with Lovehoney website on, the more they accept it.
Yep.
And they have a choice. They can opt in or opt out, but normalization and acceptance is a key driver, really.
Absolutely. And we talked there around, you mentioned diversity and inclusion being such a key part of Lovehoney's mission. And we talked about some of the partnerships you've got. And you recently have a partnership with Dylan Alcott. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, just another legend. This is where I wouldn't tell the UK head office this, but I would do this job for free at times. And when you spend time with Dill, he is an Australian hero, full stop. End of story. We are very fortunate that his manager is also manager of Chantel, our key ambassador. And I had a personal incident where my son broke both his knees playing football.
Oh, wow.
And he was in a wheelchair for 3 months. And we were discussing about looking at disability and where we have our strapline about making a fun and fulfilling sex life for everyone. That means everyone. And it was that when you said, did you have that moment about e-commerce? I had that moment about we have to champion disability and sexual wellness, because not referring to my son, but in the barriers just to live a normal life in a wheelchair and just getting around. Like he was immobilized for 3 months, and it was just, this is so hard. And then I was chatting to the co-founder of Handy, Heather Morrison, and just hearing their stories. And they've written a book about love, lust, and disability, and 50 stories of people with disabilities and how they've conquered love, the frustrations, and really some savage stories. So we got chatting, and they wanted to develop an adult toy. And so for the disability community, designed by disability users. So we were like, you know what, let's do this. So we sell their book on our 3 global websites in America, UK, and Australia. And 100% of revenue goes back to them, not profit. All the cash goes back to them to help with our MPD team in developing the first, what's going to be called Joystick, bespoke toy for the disability community. And off the back of that, we were then chatting about, well, we're championing this, we're promoting this, what else can we do? And then discussions with Dylan and his manager was like, why don't we encourage people to get into the sexual wellness education piece? And that's where the Dylan Alcott Foundation Sexual Happiness and Wellness Grants came about, where we were given the first $10,000 to encourage disability customers to do their sexology degrees, to do sexual sex coaching, to be sexual health ambassadors, supporting their university degrees or their hardware. They need computers, etc. And the foundation, they're going to decide who gets his first grant. And I hope that is just a start. That is just a tipping point. But in combination with that, we'll do ambassadorship, or mentoring. So they'll spend time with Chantel from a sexology perspective. They'll come into our office and do some work placement. So they can see how we do e-commerce, how we do marketing, how we do the operations. And that's us taking the lead.
Yeah.
Not just saying, oh, here's a donation, but making an absolute difference. And it's one of the things I'm most proud of, what we've achieved at Lovehoney, that we are championing this and opening up the conversation on disability and sex.
Oh, it's incredible. There's so many different layers to it and so many different executions of it that it's, to your point, it's not just a money donation. Is there any particular story around the work that you're doing in any of those places has made to a disabled person's life, like how it actually has changed their day-to-day life and their well-being?
We have about 12% of our staff that would identify as having a disability. I won't mention his name for privacy's sake, but we have a chap who works for us, and we gave him a chance. And he has a condition, and we gave him a chance. And seeing him develop as a person, as a team member, as part of the Lovehoney family has been absolutely amazing. Not just from my perspective to back that person, give him an opportunity, but to see him thrive, to see him shine. And I don't think I've ever seen him as happy. And he's doing a pretty routine job, but that job, he comes in with a smile. He's one of the most positive people in our team. He's the people now that other able-bodied staff members look up to for that positive influence, for that our community here is really cool. And
so great.
That's awesome. That's worth, another couple of double digits on the bottom line. That's worth more than the award sometimes, just to see those moments in your career, really.
Oh, brilliant. You should be so proud of what you're doing in that space. The other thing that you do, we mentioned before around sustainability. So my question for you is around when you've got sustainable products, right? When people are searching for sex toys, how important is sustainability?
is critical now. It's hard. We make mostly silicone and plastic products. 70% of what we make is own brand. So whether that's Lovehoney collections, whether it's our second, shall we say, tier products like Happy Rabbit, Desire, or our licensed products like 50 Shades of Grey. Lovehoney is very much the sexual wellness mission is to bring sexual happiness to people. But along the way, I think we're very delighted to be on that journey of being environmentally friendly with a really solid eco focus. And basically, we're aiming for 2023 to have all of our own brand products to be free of single-use plastics.
Wow.
We will be in the next 2 to 3 months announcing a major alignment with a recycling company for Australasia. And that's going to be an industry first and where the industry can join in. So not just doing it for ourselves, but we're setting the standard again as an industry for other retailers to join us in doing this. We're actually a little bit ahead of the time. The consumers, it's not a question of should we do it, it's we have to do it now and we want to do it. And that's the biggest, I think, change in the retail e-commerce environment where we see with Thread Together, with the fashion industry, we have to do this stuff now. Not a question of maybe. Even going back 8-9 years, we're a little bit ahead of the curve. In the UK, we had a thing called Rabbit Amnesty, where you could send back your rabbits and your vibrators and they were recycled into road humps.
Save the rabbits.
Yeah, and they were made into speed bumps in the UK.
Wow.
Now, unfortunately, the Australian government don't support those initiatives over here. So we're having to create our own. And that's what we are doing at the moment. But saying that, at the moment, we did a new eco range last month, a range called Love Not War, recycled aluminium plastics, WowTech Premium, which is biodegradable products. We have our E. coli range, which is an exclusive range of fishnet stockings, which is made out of 100% recycled waste material, including things like fishing nets. So you're actually wearing fishnets made from recycled fishnets.
Real fishnets.
Yeah, and that's all waste that would be trashed. So we, again, and same with our Mindful lingerie range with the lace and elastics being from recycled yarns and no single-use plastic. So it is a vast task, but we cannot not embrace this and be aggressive in ticking off, like our calendars at Christmas. Hugely successful seller. So we'll do your 24 days before Christmas, both lingerie and also toys.
Yep.
That now the inner packaging of that is all through recycled cardboard rather than plastic. So we're making those incremental steps towards our goal in 2023 already.
You should write the new Christmas carol for the 12 Days of Christmas.
It has been done.
Oh, nice. But what I love about that, whether it's the diversity and inclusion or whether it's sustainability, how you're talking about this is that you don't see them as limitations. You see them as responsibility, but also they actually open up new opportunity rather than limiting what you can do. Would that be fair?
Absolutely. People are looking for your eco credentials, but also like with Handy, 63% of people through their research have identified as having hand limitations at some stage in their life, mostly through arthritis or general old age. Who's to say when your sex life should start or stop? So us creating, working with them to develop their first product called the Joystick, that's actually commercially a good decision. That's actually opening up a new opportunity in the aging population in making a product that is interchangeable with existing products, so you can continue your sex life when your physical body may be having limitations. So far from it, this is actually good business sense. This is evolving new niche markets going forward.
Yeah. You've got to tell us how the Joystick works. I'm so curious.
It's fantastic. So you've got it's a gooseneck in the middle. You have a soft top end where you can hug. So the thing, again, with disability customers is, depending on their disability, is to create a toy which can be used across a range of disabilities. So the first top section, which is about almost a metre long, is on a kind of gooseneck which will curve to your body, and it's soft, so you can actually hug it in. And that element about hugging with that personal connection has come out in the research with occupational therapists and disability testers. And we actually have a couple of web pages on products tested by our disability ambassadors as well. Andrew, who's a co-founder of Handy, has reviewed a number of products in Canada and in the UK, Kathy as well. So they've written reviews for the disability community on our websites. And in the bottom end of the joystick, we'll have an area where you can insert existing products into the middle.
Gotcha.
So if you're male, if you want to masturbate it, you can put that in. If female, if you want to have a vibrator or pulsating air technology, you can insert that in there. So at the moment, we're in the second round of research. OTs around Australia are testing this with their patients. And we look forward to developing that and bringing it to the final stage of pre-production.
That's amazing. So just amazing thinking. I love it. Now, you are on the advisory board at Australia Post and Retail Global. And as we heard before, you've got some great relationships with leading retailers. When you're talking to these people in our retail and e-commerce industry, is there any particular message that you're trying to push for change?
Yeah, I think the bigger element I think we should all congratulate ourselves for in Australia is that we're actually a cool bunch of people. Like when I travelled before COVID, when I travelled the world extensively, I used to always introduce myself as Australian because you will be embraced a lot more than being English, even though obviously the Australian cricket team's a bit dodgy. Everything else I embrace about Australian life. But we should be very proud of the e-commerce industry. Big shout out to Phil Leahy and the guys at Retail Global, and also Gary Starrod, new CEO of Australia Post. The work we do on the CAG board with Australia Post, they are a really good supplier. We rated as one of their top customers in terms of our supplier compliance recently. But I think as an industry overview, we should be embracing each other and helping each other. Certainly the open invitation to anyone coming to Brisbane to come. We've got Retail Global Roadshow at the end of May, and we have got an open day for anyone to come around and look around our warehouse. I think that support of each other, be generous with your time, that I would learn more from going into other companies like EB Games, Culture Kings, etc., than I do and listen to Add to Cart.
Oh, thank you.
These are the things where, as a director, you learn more than anything else, reading any books where you see it in action. So I think being generous with your time, benchmarking with other companies, things like Frontliners. We picked up the Excellence in Retail Award at Retail Global, or Power Retail Awards, the other week. Very honoured for the business to receive that.
Yeah, congratulations.
But you've got to set that standard. You've got to push. You've got to use the opportunity as market leaders, as directors in e-commerce to make a difference. So I would say what I will be promoting is disability employment. Give people a go. You will be absolutely blown away and surprised. Have that inclusion and acceptance of disabilities, but also learn from each other. I think also, without being too negative, you've also got to call out poor performance and poor behaviour. I had the honour of working with Christine Holgate, and I thought how she was treated was pretty appalling. I think as an industry, we have to get behind people like that and actually call out things which are in equal proportion good and bad. And I think in this circumstance, Australia Post loss is Toll's gain. Really.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. What an amazing move by Toll to bring Christine home.
I was at the Nora networking event with Paul Greenberg and his lovely wife Adele, and she gave a speech there in front of about 120 leading executives. And you know what these events are like. Everyone's having a few drinks and it's loud. You could hear a pin drop.
Wow. When
she spoke. And she spoke so eloquently, with such passion, but also such a conviction. There was no negativity. She just spoke with authority. And that's where we have to get behind us, specifically for inclusion of women in senior positions, it should be done on merit, not done on the politics behind privatisation of Australia Post or anything like that.
Absolutely. And we should celebrate these people too. And I think people like yourself, you've mentioned Phil, you've mentioned Paul, mentioned Christine, like there are so many people doing great things in e-commerce in Australia. We've got to make sure we celebrate, because the common thread between all of these people, I think, is that they give before they ask for anything in return. And I think you're doing the same thing. You're doing such a great job in advocating for inclusion and diversity and sharing your knowledge. Like you know, I've heard you speak on panels where you go into detail around your operations for the benefit of smaller and other retailers in the room. So I think we have to thank you for all your contributing as well.
Oh, thank you. That's really pleasing to hear.
Now, if we are looking on the horizon for yourself and Lovehoney, what are the big things on your radar?
That's a very good question. I think from a business perspective and from a personal perspective, I have to personally find a better work-life balance. With COVID, I threw myself into work like ridiculous hours. My girlfriend was like, "Do you realise how many hours you work a week?" And I just said, "Don't want to know." Literally. But I think it's that support of your team and driving that opportunity. We had such a massive increase in new customers during that period. We didn't want to lose the potential. And I think we've captured the vast majority of that potential. So I've got to address that. So doing things like going back into marathon running, going back into corporate boxing, these are things that kind of balance out the managing director status to the, if you're getting punched in the head, that's a very great leveler in life. Or if you're doing 42K, doesn't matter if you're a director or not, it's going to hurt.
Exactly.
Spending a bit more time with my kids in their sporting and education activities is a good thing. I think though for Lovehoney, we're opening up our second warehouse soon. Or actually have it, but we're just putting in some new infrastructure. We're putting in some more tech as well, some more back-end systems. We re-platformed our front end last year across our 9 global websites, which was a huge task during COVID and during our peak cyber weekend period.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
can we ask, what did you migrate to from?
In-house system, old .NET Java, 17 years of existence, and it just evolved.
Yep, the Franken monster.
Yep, and we had to move, and we went to Salesforce Commerce Cloud, and that was a very detailed transformation, but highly effective. Yep. I do take my hat off to. We've got a great guy called James Saxton from ex-ASOS in the UK, and him and his team did a brilliant job in rolling out. So we did America first, then Australia, then the UK prior to Christmas, Valentine's.
Yep.
And now we've rolled out our non-English speaking websites as well. Now we're going to look at the back end and look at some customer service software, which we're implementing this month, and some more back end warehouse management systems. We're expanding our team. We've got 5 internal promotions coming up. Got some new EK products coming through. We've got some new mainstream announcements coming up.
What did you say about work-life balance?
I don't know what is that. But there is so much going on. Like the days, weeks, months evaporate. But I'm just such fortunate to work with such brilliant people as part of the team. I mean, they take the mickey out of the beard and the shorts I wear to work and the Lovehoney t-shirt every day. But it is an honour to work with them, for them, and really driving that message and really grabbing the success of Lovehoney now and in the future years, really.
Oh, you're an incredible leader, and we thank you so much for all you're doing for the industry, everything you shared today. Keep doing great stuff, and continue pushing the limits of what's possible in e-com in Australia.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been great to be on your show today.
Cheers, Rob. After we recorded this episode, I took up Rob's offer to go and visit the Lovehoney office and warehouse in Eagle Farm, and it was incredible. The sheer volume of orders was huge. I saw at least 3 delivery trucks leave in the hour that I was there. They've also nailed forgive the expression, the fulfillment process with brilliant automation in the warehouse. And just to wander down those warehouse aisles, the things that catch your eye was just incredible. Very impressive. But even more so, I thought Rob's mission around diversity and inclusion was not lip service. It infiltrates all parts of the Lovehoney operation, from their team to their product to the way they speak with their customers. In every way, I felt so fortunate to see the brilliant e-commerce business that is Lovehoney and their focus on diversity and inclusion. And did I mention that they were generous? Rob and the team have given all Add to Cart listeners 25% off until the end of June. What a glorious June. You can get the discount through our newsletter. It goes out every Monday, and you can sign up at addtocart.com.au, our brand new shiny website. But better still, better than that 25% discount, we have a $500 Lovehoney hamper to give away. All you need to do is answer one simple question. And look, I wanted to have a lot of fun with this question. I could have found out a lot about you and your personal lives, but I've kept it very PG. All we need you to do is answer sexual happiness means ... and email the answer to hello@addtocart.com.au. That's the answer to sexual happiness means ... and email it through to hello@addtocart.com.au. And the best answer will be mailed out their special hamper in a very discreet brown box.
To finish up, I have 3 resources for you. Firstly, if you're a first-time listener of Add to Cart and you want to stay up to date with new episodes, head over to addtocart.com.au and you can sign up for our weekly newsletter. We'll let you know every time a new episode drops, as well as giving you my 3 takeaways from each episode and a link to the transcripts so you can know that this is an episode that you want to dive straight into. Secondly, if you want a weekly roundup of the best e-commerce case studies, tools, and research, sign up to the High Five Friday newsletter, which is delivered to inboxes at 8 a.m. every Friday morning. I read all the e-commerce news and send you the bits that I think you can take action from. Sign up at 12high.com.au/high5. And the last thing, if you are looking to explore your next e-commerce opportunity, head over to esuitetalent.com.au. We are a dedicated e-commerce talent agency connecting the best e-commerce talent with the fastest growing brands. Check it out, sign up to the email, and get in touch with me if you want to discuss your next move. Until next time, thanks for listening and keep those customers adding to cart.